Welcome to another episode of For the Love of Chiropractic. I'm your host, Dr. Robert Freeman. I've been in practice for over 30 years, and I continue to work in $1 million practice that I built, ran, and sold. I've taught, lectured, and coached our profession, and helped so many chiropractors build the practice and the life of their dreams. And now, I want to help you do the same. So here's today's show. Today, we're going to be talking about why your practice doesn't grow, or won't grow, or can't seem to grow, or keep getting stuck at the same points over and over again. Unless you're very new in practice, the problem is not, I need more new patients. I know I need more new patients is the battle cry of the chiropractic profession. We just think if we could get a few more new patients, 5 more patients, 10 more new patients, 20 more new patients, that'll solve all the problems. The numbers will be the way we want this. The office will be busy. The staff will be busy. And it'll be lollipops, unicorns, and rainbows all the time. But that just isn't the case. Because whether it is 5 more new patients or 10 more new patients, the bottom line is, those 5 people do come in. You do see 5 more new patients. But for some reason, the practice stays the same. The volume stays the same. Maybe you go out and do a marketing event or do a marketing campaign on social media and, well, man, all these people came in. That's awesome. But they don't seem to stick around, do they? They leave. And when you get to a month out, you're right back where you were at the same numbers. Or maybe you have a dry spell and you don't see new patients for a week, or God forbid 2 weeks, or oh my God, we haven't seen a new patient in 3 weeks and you're in panic mode. And the numbers still don't significantly change. It stays about the same. Why is that? That's what we're going to talk about today. Because in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the 2 reasons that your practice doesn't grow. It stays at its set point, at about where it is. The 2 reasons that a practice doesn't grow is because there's something called a capacity block. And there are 2 types of capacity blocks. It's either physical or psychological, and we're going to talk about them both. The more important one, psychological, we're going to talk about second. We're going to handle the easier one first. So, the second one is a physical capacity block. When you look at your office, do you have enough chairs in the waiting room? Or are there people standing around waiting? Do you have enough adjusting tables? Or do you have people waiting around too long to get adjusted? Do you have enough hot seats, standby seats near the adjusting tables for people to be ready to jump into the adjusting area? Do you have enough CAs to help move people around the office and do the ancillary procedures that need to be done? Maybe your schedule's already full, but you'd love the practice to grow, so you don't have enough office hours. Do you need to add some hours, convenient hours, that more people can come in? Maybe you need another pair of hands, another chiropractor, to help take care of all the patients that are already there. If people are waiting too long to get in the office, to make their next appointment, to get seen and moved to the next therapy, they're going to find their way out of the office. They're going to find an excuse to leave. I'm not going there to wait. So a physical capacity block is time, hands, and equipment. Those are the 3 pieces of it. And when an office is running at peak efficiency, you're running at about 80% of your capacity of those things that I just mentioned. An office cannot run at 100% capacity all the time, with 100% efficiency all the time. You can't do it. You know what? You can gust up to it. 80% of the day, we're cruising along just fine. Man, that first hour in the morning, that last hour at night, we are humming. Okay, you're really moving through crunch time, sometimes it's called, to get people in and get them out and get them on with their day. That's fine. But then even in capacity times, Maybe we need to have that extra CA to help move people through the office. Maybe you need an extra person at your front desk to help check people in and check people out. I strongly recommend not scheduling specials, new patients, and report of findings or re-exams during crunch time. You know what? For those special visits, it's going to take a little bit of extra time, and we want to make sure that we have all the time we need to give the patient everything they need. So we're going to schedule those visits outside of crunch time because we never want to keep our regular patients, our regular good patients, waiting while we take care of that new patient, trying to squeeze one more in. But we're going to talk more about that in a future episode or maybe later today. Another piece of the physical capacity block is your individual procedures. Are you so married to exactly what you're doing now that you're not willing to even consider changing it? For example, perhaps your technique calls for 5 minutes or 8 minutes or 10 minutes, I don't know, of soft tissue before you do any adjusting on the patient. Does everybody need and get, that specific number of time of soft tissue work on every visit? Do they really need that? I don't know. I'm asking you as a question. When you adjust your spouse, hey honey, I've got a headache. Can you help me with that? Sure, no problem. Do you do 5 or 10 or 15 minutes of soft tissue before you adjust them, before you move that atlas or change the alignment of the atlas on the axis? And if you're not doing that for your spouse, does every patient really need that? Are you cheating your spouse out of the best care you can possibly provide? Or maybe it's not that important and it's a filler that you do in the office. This is a question for you to think about and come up with an answer. If you do electric stim in your office, for example, how long do you do electric stim? I know from research and reading and practice over so many years, the minimum therapeutic time for electric stim is 6 minutes. Now, am I saying you should do 6 minutes? No. I'm saying you should do at least 6 minutes, but how much time do you do? Is it 10, 15, 20 minutes? I know practices that do 25 minutes of electric stim on every patient. Do what your technique requires you to do. Do what you know in your heart needs to be done. And at least be willing to question it. I know some chiropractors that are fantastic chiropractors with amazing practices. They adjust and go. It's an adjusting only practice. And I don't mean only to minimize the chiropractic adjustment. It is a phenomenal tool and an amazing way to make changes in the human body and the neurobiomechanical system that we all operate with. I've had chiropractors say to me, those chiropractors that only adjust, they're not providing quality care to people. Well, their patients seem to like it. Their patients seem to get a great response. So I don't know who any of us are to judge anybody else. If you truly believe in the depths of your heart that's what the person absolutely needs, they need 15 minutes of soft tissue work, and they need 25 minutes of electric stim, and they need to be adjusted a certain way with a certain technique, because that's the only way that they'll get better. I would invite you to find a chiropractor that practices the exact opposite of the way you do, and go and visit them, shadow them, see how they treat their patients, see how their patients respond, and take that doc to lunch. Offer to buy them lunch, sit with them, and really talk through this chiropractic thing and chiropractic practice. If you're willing to listen, you'll each learn a lot about chiropractic practice and how patients feel better, get better, and stay better. And that serves as a beautiful introduction to the other capacity block, psychological. What's your concept and vision of how a chiropractic practice works, of how your chiropractic practice works? If your concept and vision is one person at a time and a quiet office with very, very quiet music. Maybe it's classical music, or maybe it's even just some quiet, light jazz in the background, or no music at all for a very, very quiet, serene environment. That's fine. What's the capacity of that environment? What's your concept and vision that you're trying to create? How big do you want this thing to be? If your concept and vision is bigger, more patients, bigger impact on your community, awesome. Do you have the capacity for that? Do you see yourself moving through the office in such a way that you're able to help all the people that in your mind you're thinking you want to help? I once heard a fantastic chiropractor say from stage, his name is Dr. Larry Markson, and this had to be 30 years ago. He said, you went to school for 4 years to get your college education, and then you went to chiropractic school for 3.5 years if you did it straight through, 5 academic years. You got all that schooling and education. We all call ourselves doctor because we are. We are doctors. We are chiropractic physicians. And how many people are you helping? How many lives are you changing? How many lives are you changing? Well, the average chiropractor sees 100 people a week. Does the doc really see 100 people a week? No, because the average person comes in 2 or 3 times per week in a chiropractic practice. Let's call it 3 times. At 3 times a week and 100 visits a week, that means the average chiropractic practice is taking care of 35 people. 35 people. Are you really changing your community? Are you improving the health of your entire city if you're taking care of 35 people? I think you should take care of as many people as your heart desires, as your technique allows you to. What's your concept and vision? Personally, my personal philosophy and practice has always been to help as many people as I possibly can. To help as many people as I possibly can. Do I need a bigger office? Yup, expanded the office twice over the 30 years. More doctors? Yup, I love training young doctors to teach them how to be successful. And I'm proud to say every one of the doctors that came into the office and worked with us went on to have a fantastic career, and they're doing great, and I couldn't be more proud of them. What's your mission? In your heart of hearts, what's your mission? Is it to just scrape by? I don't think so. I think it's either to help as many people as you can, or to change lives. Maybe you don't have a number affiliated with that. Maybe your motivation is to provide for your family. Well, what do you want to provide? Just enough food? Just enough financial resources? I think there's a beautiful marriage there. When you dedicate yourself to helping people, having fun along the way, you're going to earn a fine living. There's another fantastic chiropractor that I know who also helps people with their practice, and he says all the time, the goal of practice should be to help people have fun and make money. Well, help people have fun and earn a fine living. I think those are all noble goals. And I encourage you, nay, I challenge you, really think about your concept and vision. Where are you going? How do you want to grow? So those are our 2 capacity blocks, psychological and physical. They're the 2 pieces that prevent a practice from growing and with sustained growth, holding that new level. That's why practice is settled back to a lower point. I did want to take a few minutes and talk about something that I'd mentioned earlier in this show regarding scheduling. Some practices will schedule 1 patient every 10 minutes. Okay, so somebody gets an appointment at 10 o'clock. One person gets an appointment at 10:10, 10:20, 10:30, 10:40, 10:50, and 11 o'clock. The challenge with that is if that 10:10 patient is even 5 minutes late, you're now going to be, by definition, behind schedule 5 minutes the entire rest of the morning or the entire rest of the shift. So that's when offices do things like, oh, I'm sorry, you're more than 5 minutes late. You'll need to reschedule this appointment. Nothing infuriates patients more, but I have the solution for that. It's called cluster booking. So for example, if you know that you see patients, one patient every 10 minutes, that works out to be 6 patients an hour or 3 patients every 30 minutes. I'm going to encourage you to schedule all 3 patients at 10 o'clock, and then 3 more at 10:30, and 3 more at 11, and then 3 more at 11:30, and so on for the entire day, for your entire shift that you see patients. Reason being, somebody is going to be 5 or 10 minutes early. Somebody is going to be right on time, and somebody is going to be 5 or 10 minutes late. By putting that flexibility into your schedule, you take the stress off of your patients. Your office becomes more user-friendly. You become the easy, fun place in their stressful life. Let's make their lives better, easier, and be fun and easy to work with. And that by itself will help your practice grow. The other thing that I wanted to touch on as we finish out today's episode is the scheduling piece. We've talked about cluster booking. Fantastic. We also want to talk about where to put the specials in. If it's a single doctor office, put special slots in your schedule for new patients and re-exams. I recommend you do not do either of those in the first hour or the last hour of any shift, with the exception of if you see patients 10 to 1 and 3 to 7 as an example. If you're willing to work through your lunch hour, then go ahead and put a new patient in at 1 o'clock. Go ahead and put a new patient in at 7 p.m. as the last one you'll see in the evening. By doing that, you open the concept up that we're here to grow and we really want to help more people. Don't tell the person to come into the office at 1 o'clock. Have them get there by 12:45. And that's what your CA will tell the person. Make sure you're in the office by 12:45 because we really work hard to run on schedule. That'll give you time to fill out the paperwork or bring the paperwork with you if they can fill it out online. And I'll have you back with the doctor right at 1 o'clock because we work to be right on time. People recognize that, they respect that, and already they like you. They're not going to sit around and wait for an hour. And God forbid we keep our regular patients waiting while we squeeze a new patient in. You don't even know if that new patient is going to show up or stick around. All you know is that you're keeping your regular patients waiting while you do your consultation, and then the proper examination, and then the proper release technique. And again, we'll talk about some of those things on a future episode also. All right, and that's our show for today. If you have a question about today's show or your own practice, feel free to reach out at fortheloveofchiropractic.com. Before making changes to your practice, be sure to seek legal advice regarding those changes and regulations in your state. For the Love of Chiropractic is an RGF production, all rights reserved. And thanks for listening. Original music provided by Hunter Rich Music.